Commander Vextil stood before the large viewing screen, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the blue planet below. Earth, as the natives called it. His slender gray fingers tapped impatiently on the control panel. 3 weeks of observation. And what have we learned? He asked, not bothering to turn toward Science Officer Melnar, who stood nervously behind him. The humans are more advanced than we expected, Commander, Melnar replied, her voice soft but firm. They have nuclear capabilities, basic space travel, and global communication networks. Perhaps we should report to the Council before proceeding with advanced? Vextil laughed, the sound like bubbling liquid. They have barely left their atmosphere. They waste resources on entertainment and decoration, and look how they fight among themselves over arbitrary land divisions. The Eternal Curiosity continued its silent orbit, cloaking technology ensuring no Earth instruments could detect the Xeraxian exploratory vessel. The ship's crew of 30 had been sent to assess Earth for potential resources and alliance value. Commander Vextil, however, had greater ambitions than a simple assessment mission. What interests me, Vextil continued, zooming the view screen onto a small town, is how much they value their young ones. The screen showed a playground where children laughed and played while adults watched carefully from nearby benches. All species protect their offspring, Melnar pointed out. Yes, but observe the resources they dedicate to these small humans. Special buildings for education, entertainment centers designed specifically for them, laws that exist solely for their protection. Vextil's upper eyes narrowed while his lower ones widened, the Xeraxian expression of a new idea forming. Their young must be particularly valuable, genetically superior perhaps? Melnar shifted uncomfortably. Commander, I advise against any action involving the human offspring. The Council protocols clearly state, the Council sent us to learn, Vextil interrupted, and I intend to learn why these children are so precious to them. Perhaps they are the key to negotiating with humans. The viewing screen shifted to a wooded area outside the small town of Pine Creek. This gathering of young ones away from their settlement presents an opportunity. Only minimal adult supervision. We could extract several specimens for study with little risk. Vextil's mouth formed into what passed for a smile among his species. Prepare the extraction team. Melnar wanted to object further but knew it was useless. Commander Vextil had built his career on bold actions that his superiors initially questioned, but eventually rewarded. She simply hoped this wouldn't be the exception. Sam Miller poked the campfire with a stick, sending sparks flying into the night air. I'm telling you, aliens definitely exist, he insisted to his friends. Jack Peterson rolled his eyes while adjusting his glasses. I'm not saying they don't exist somewhere. I'm saying the chances of them visiting Earth are mathematically tiny. I think Sam's right, Lily Hernandez said, opening another marshmallow package. The universe is too big for us to be alone. The three friends were enjoying their annual camping trip at Willow Lake, just 2 miles outside their hometown of Pine Creek. At ages 10 to 12, they were experienced campers, and their parents allowed them to set up their own site within shouting distance of the adult camp. Did you guys bring the telescope? Sam asked, pushing his blonde hair out of his eyes. Jack nodded toward his backpack. Of course, the sky's super clear tonight. He glanced at his watch. Mr. Gordon said he'd come check on us at 9. We've got about an hour to stargaze before then. They finished their s'mores and set up the telescope on a flat rock. Jack, the most technically minded of the group, carefully aligned it while Lily and Sam spread out a blanket to lie on. There's something weird about the air tonight, Lily said suddenly, looking up. Like it's buzzing? Sam was about to respond when a strange humming sound filled the air. The campfire flickered, then dimmed, though there wasn't any wind. Guys? Jack stepped away from the telescope, his face pale in the fading firelight. Are you seeing this? Above them, a section of the night sky seemed to ripple, stars momentarily. Disappearing and reappearing, the air pressure changed, making their ears pop. What is that? Lily whispered, grabbing Sam's arm. Before any of them could move, a cone of soft blue light surrounded them. Sam tried to shout for help, but no sound came out. Jack lunged for his backpack but found he couldn't move his legs. Lily reached for her friends, her fingers just brushing against Sam's jacket before the world around them faded away. Sheriff Olivia Grant rubbed her tired eyes as she pinned another photo to the investigation board. 3 smiling faces, Sam Miller, Lily Hernandez, and Jack Peterson, stared back at her. The children had been missing for 18 hours now. Coffee? Deputy Frank Murphy offered her a steaming mug. Thanks, she said, taking it gratefully. Any word from the search teams? Team 3 found something strange at the campsite. Murphy placed a plastic evidence bag on her desk. Inside was a small metallic object about the size of a coin, but perfectly smooth with no markings. Nobody knows what it is, and the weird thing is, there were no footprints around the campsite except the kids' own. Sheriff Grant picked up the bag, examining the strange object. What about the parents' theory that they might have wandered off to explore? Doesn't fit, Murphy said, shaking his head. They left their backpacks, phones, flashlights, everything. The campfire had burned down normally. No signs of animals or struggle. It's like they just vanished. The office door opened, and a tall man in casual clothes entered. His posture and haircut immediately marked him as military to Grant's experienced. Sheriff Grant. I'm Commander Alan Russell, U.S. Navy. I understand you're leading the search for the missing children. Grant stood up, extending her hand. Commander, what brings Navy personnel to our missing persons case? I'm actually here visiting my sister's family, Russell explained. But I couldn't help noticing some unusual atmospheric readings last night. My colleagues at Space Command confirmed them this morning. He placed a folder on her desk. These readings are consistent with a high-energy field deployment in the area where the children disappeared. Sheriff Grant opened the folder, though the charts and numbers meant little to her. Are you suggesting some kind of military experiment gone wrong? No, Russell said carefully. These aren't readings from any technology currently in use by any nation on Earth. The room fell silent as his implication sank in. You can't seriously be suggesting, Deputy Murphy started. I'm not suggesting anything yet, Commander Russell replied. But something unusual happened in those woods last night, and I've been authorized to assist your investigation with some specialized equipment. He looked directly at Sheriff Grant. Those kids didn't just wander off, Sheriff, and I think we both know it. Sheriff Grant looked back at the 3 smiling faces on her board. Whatever happened to these children, she would find them. Sam woke up with a pounding headache. The surface beneath him was smooth and slightly warm. Not his sleeping bag. Not the ground. He opened his eyes to a soft purple light. Guys, he called out, sitting up. Over here, Jack's voice replied from nearby. Sam turned to see Jack and Lily already awake, sitting together against a curved wall. The room they were in was circular with no visible doors or windows. The light seemed to come from the walls themselves. Are you okay? Sam asked, moving to join them. Lily nodded. I think so. Do you remember what happened? The blue light, Jack said quietly, and then nothing until we woke up here. He was methodically examining the walls, pressing against sections, looking for any change or reaction. A seam suddenly appeared in the wall opposite them, widening into an opening. The 3 children froze as a figure stepped into the room. It was tall and slender with grayish skin and 4 large eyes blinking independently of each other. Its mouth was small and seemed to have no lips. Long fingers with an extra joint tapped, something on a device attached to its arm. Specimens appear to be in optimal physical condition following extraction, the creature said, its voice oddly musical despite the strange language. The 3 friends looked at each other, the same realization dawning on each of their faces. Sam, Lily whispered, I think you were right about aliens. The alien continued speaking in its strange language while studying the 3 children. Sam, Jack, and Lily huddled together, trying to appear brave despite their racing hearts. Can you understand us? Sam finally asked, his voice shakier than he wanted. The alien tilted its head, then adjusted something on the device attached to its wrist. A soft hum filled the room. Your communication now translates, the alien said, the words coming out with odd pauses between syllables. I am Science Officer Zikra. You are on the Zeraxian exploratory vessel Eternal Curiosity. Jack stepped forward slightly. Why did you take us? Commander Vextil ordered your extraction for study. Human offspring appear highly valued on your world. We wish to understand why. Zikra's 4 eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern. You will not be permanently damaged. That's not comforting, Lily muttered. Zikra moved to a previously invisible panel in the wall. You will be given sustenance and monitored. Commander Vextil will interview you when we reach proper orbit. Wait, Sam called as the alien turned to leave. When can we go home? Zikra paused. That decision belongs to the commander. Then she left through the opening, which sealed seamlessly behind her. The 3 friends looked at each other in silence for a moment. They kidnapped us because we're kids, Lily finally said. Jack nodded, his analytical mind already working despite his fear. They think children are special somehow, like we're valuable specimens. We need to figure out how to get out of here, Sam said, moving to examine the walls of their enclosure. There has to be some way to open that door. Even if we could, Jack replied, we're on a spaceship. Where would we go? Lily started untying her shoes. First, we learn everything we can about this place and these aliens. Then we make a plan. What are you doing? Sam asked. Lily pulled out the metal aglet from the end of her shoelace. Making tools, she replied. If we're being monitored, we should look cooperative for now, but we need to be ready. Jack's eyes widened behind his glasses. Smart. I'm going to memorize every detail about this room and any aliens we see. He lowered his voice. And we need a way to communicate without them understanding. Tap code, Sam suggested immediately. My uncle was in the military, he taught me. For the next hour, the children prepared as best they could. They practiced the simple tap code, created small tools from their clothing and belongings, and examined every inch of their enclosure. When a section of the floor opened to reveal 3 containers of what appeared to be food, they cautiously tasted it. It's bland but not terrible, Sam said. Like unseasoned oatmeal. We should eat, Jack advised. Keep our strength up. While they ate, a portion of the wall became transparent, revealing a window into space. The blue curve of Earth was visible in the distance. They want to see how we react, Lily whispered. Don't look too impressed. Commander Vextil observed the human children through the monitoring system. His junior officers gathered around him. Note, their immediate problem-solving behavior, he said, pointing to the displays. Most species young would be in a panic state, yet these specimens have already established communication methods and begun analyzing their surroundings. They appear to have detected our observation window, one officer noted. Yes, and observe how they pretend not to be impressed. Vextil responded with amusement. Deception at such a young age. Fascinating. Science Officer Melnar entered the command center, her posture tense. Commander, we have received a transmission from the Galactic Council. They require an update on our Earth observations. Perfect timing, Vextil said. Prepare a report on our specimens. I will present them to the Council as evidence of human adaptability and potential. This will elevate our mission's importance considerably. Commander, Melnar said cautiously, the Council did not authorize specimen collection, especially of young ones. This violates several protocols. Vextil dismissed her concern with a wave. The Council rewards results, Melnar. When they see what we've learned from these specimens, they will understand the necessity of my decision. He turned back to the monitor, watching as the human children huddled together, whispering, Prepare the examination room. I want a complete biological assessment before my council presentation. On Earth, Sheriff Grant's office had been transformed into a command center. Maps covered the walls, search teams reported in hourly, and Commander Russell had set up equipment that looked far too advanced for a small-town police station. This makes no sense, Grant said, reviewing the latest search reports. 3 children don't just vanish without leaving any traces. Commander Russell looked up from his equipment. We found something. He pointed to a readout on his screen. These energy signatures match classified reports of anomalous aerial phenomena from military installations worldwide. You're still talking about aliens, Grant said flatly. I'm talking about the evidence, Sheriff, Russell replied. Whatever took those kids left traces we can track. Look at this. He showed her a satellite image with a faint, barely perceptible distortion above Pine Creek. This distortion follows a pattern we've been monitoring for months. The phone rang, and Deputy Murphy answered it. Sheriff, it's the lab about that metal object we found at the campsite. Grant took the phone. After a brief conversation, she hung up and turned to Russell, her face pale. The lab says that object isn't made of any material known on Earth. Commander Russell nodded grimly. Now do you believe me? Before Grant could answer, Russell's secure phone buzzed. He answered, listened intently, then looked at the sheriff with renewed urgency. Space Command has detected an object in orbit directly above us. It briefly appeared on radar before disappearing again. A cloaked ship, Grant said, the words feeling strange in her mouth. Yes, and it's preparing to move to a higher orbit. Russell began typing rapidly on his laptop. If we lose track of it now, we may never find those kids. Back on the ship, Jack had discovered that the smooth surface near the invisible door responded slightly to touch. After several attempts, he found that pressing in a specific pattern caused a small panel to appear. It's some kind of control terminal, he whispered to the others. I think it's meant for maintenance or emergency access. Lily kept watch while Sam joined Jack at the panel. Strange symbols glowed on its surface. Can you figure it out? Sam asked. Jack studied the patterns. Maybe. It seems to use a base 12 mathematical system. If I can understand the logic. He cautiously touched several symbols in sequence. The panel changed configuration, more symbols appearing. I think this is their language, Jack said excitedly. If we can activate their translation system. A soft chime sounded, and the panel displayed new symbols that slowly morphed into recognizable letters and numbers. You did it, Sam whispered. Maintenance access terminal, Jack read. Environmental controls, communication systems, security protocols. His eyes widened. Guys, I think we can access their ship's systems from here. The door suddenly opened, and Science Officer Zikra entered with two larger aliens in what appeared to be uniforms. The specimens will come for examination now, one of the guards announced. Zikra noticed the active terminal and her eyes widened. She quickly deactivated it before the guards noticed. How did you access that? She asked quietly, sounding more curious than angry. We're fast learners, Lily replied, meeting the alien's four-eyed gaze steadily. Zikra studied them for a moment. Perhaps too fast, she murmured, then gestured for them to follow the guards. Commander Vextil wishes to see you now. As they were led through the curving corridors of the alien ship, the three friends exchanged quick glances, tapping subtle signals against their legs. They were being watched, but they were also watching, learning, planning, and Zikra, walking. Behind them, was beginning to wonder if Commander Vextil had made a terrible mistake. Commander Vextil's examination room was larger than the children's holding cell, filled with strange equipment and glowing screens. The commander himself stood in the center, his slender body nearly 7 feet tall, looking down at the three human children with all four eyes blinking in different patterns. These are the specimens? He asked, circling them slowly. They appear so fragile. Sam, Jack, and Lily stood close together, watching the alien commander carefully. Unlike Science Officer Zikra, who had shown at least some concern for their well-being, Vextil looked at them like they were interesting insects in a jar. State your designations, Vextil ordered. I'm Sam Miller, Sam said, standing a little straighter. This is Lily Hernandez and Jack Peterson. Your age cycles? I'm 12, Sam answered. Lily is 10, and Jack is 11. Vextil made a sound like bubbling water that the translation device rendered as laughter. Barely into your development phase, yet your species entrusts you with independent activities away from your guardians. curious. We're old enough to take care of ourselves, Lily said firmly. Are you? Vextil replied. Yet here you are, extracted from your world with minimal effort. Your guardian's mistake. Jack adjusted his glasses. Why did you take us? To understand, Vextil said simply. Your species invests extraordinary resources in offspring care. Your young appear to hold special value. I wish to know why. He gestured to a series of platforms. You will be scanned now. And if we refuse? Sam asked. All four of Vextil's eyes focused on him. You cannot. The two guard aliens moved forward, guiding each child to a separate platform. Once in position, a humming field of energy surrounded them, lifting them slightly off the ground. It didn't hurt, but the tingling sensation was uncomfortable. Remarkable, Vextil said, studying the readings. Standard physical development, yet neural activity is significantly advanced, complex problem-solving centers already fully formed. He turned to Zikra. Record all data for my council presentation. Commander, Zikra said quietly. I've detected unusual energy signatures around Earth's orbit. Their space monitoring systems appear more advanced than we initially assessed. Vextil dismissed this with a gesture. Their primitive technology cannot penetrate our cloaking systems. While the aliens talked, Lily caught Sam's eye and tapped a quick pattern against her leg. Sam nodded slightly, understanding her message. Vextil was planning to present them to some kind of council or authority. Jack, meanwhile, was memorizing every detail of the room, especially the control panels. The symbols were similar to the ones he'd seen on the maintenance terminal, and he was beginning to recognize patterns. The energy field suddenly disappeared, and the children were lowered back to the floor. Take them to the observation habitat, Vextil ordered. I want to study their group dynamics before the council transmission. As they were led away, Zikra fell into step beside them. You should cooperate, she said quietly. Commander Vextil is not known for his patience. When will we go home? Jack asked. Zikra's four eyes blinked in sequence. That is unlikely. You are now classified as valuable research specimens. The observation habitat was much larger than their previous cell. It contained structures resembling furniture, a water source, and even a small area with strange plants. The three friends immediately began exploring their new surroundings. This is like a zoo exhibit, Lily said with disgust. But it gives us more room to plan, Sam replied, keeping his voice low. He pointed subtly to the corners of the room where small devices were mounted. They're watching us. Jack nodded. I think I understand some of their written language now. The symbols follow logical patterns. He lowered his voice to a whisper. And I noticed something when we walked through the ship. There's a section marked with red symbols near what looks like their smaller vessels. Escape pods? Sam guessed. Maybe. But first we need to contact Earth somehow. Jack moved to what appeared to be a food dispenser and pretended to examine it while continuing to whisper. They have communication systems. If we could send a message. Lily joined them, pretending to be interested in the food. Did you see that terminal in the hallway? It looked like the one you activated in our cell. Their planning was interrupted when a section of the wall became transparent, revealing Zikra watching them. The alien scientist touched a control and her voice came through. I have activated a communication channel. Do you require anything for your comfort? The children exchanged glances, silently agreeing on their approach. We'd like to learn about your species, Sam said politely. And about why you're studying us. Zikra seemed surprised by the request. That is not typically asked by specimens. We're not specimens, Lily corrected firmly. We're people. Something like uncertainty flickered across Zikra's alien features. Commander Vextil believes studying your kind will bring him recognition from the Galactic Council. He plans to use you to demonstrate human weaknesses before initiating wider contact with your world. What kind of contact? Jack asked, alarm evident in his voice. Zikra hesitated. Resource acquisition negotiation. He wants to take things from Earth, Sam translated. To steal. To trade, Zikra corrected, though. She sounded uncertain. though the terms would be favorable to Xeraxian interests. Back on Earth, Commander Russell's equipment suddenly came to life, beeping urgently. He rushed to the monitor, Sheriff Grant close behind him. "What is it?" she asked. "We've pinpointed their location," Russell said, pointing to a display showing Earth's orbit. The alien vessel briefly activated a high-power transmission system. "We caught the edge of the signal." "Can you track them?" Russell nodded grimly. "Better than that. We can decode part of the transmission." He adjusted several controls and fragmented audio began playing through the speakers. Most of it was unintelligible, but suddenly, clear as day, they heard a young, "Voice Guy Jack Peterson, Pine Creek alien ship." Sheriff Grant gripped the edge of the desk. "That's Jack's voice." "He must have found a way to access their communication system," Russell said, admiration in his voice. "Smart kid." "Can we respond?" Grant asked. Russell shook his head. "Not directly, but now we know they're alive and we have the ship's exact position." He picked up his secure phone. "This goes beyond us now, Sheriff. I need to contact Space Command immediately." On the Xeraxian ship, alarms suddenly blared. Zikra's image disappeared from the viewing window as the ship went into emergency mode. "What's happening?" Lily asked, as the lights in their habitat dimmed to a pulsing purple. "I don't know," Sam replied. "But something's wrong." Jack moved to the sealed door of their habitat. "I think I set off some kind of alert when I accessed that terminal earlier. They might have tracked my attempt to send a message." "Did it work?" Lily asked. "Did you send something to Earth?" Jack nodded. "I didn't have time for much. Just our names, location, and that we're on an alien ship. I hope someone was listening." The door suddenly slid open, revealing Zikra. Her usually calm demeanor was gone, replaced by obvious agitation. "You must come quickly," she said. "Your planet's defensive systems have detected our vessel. Commander Vextil is preparing to move to a higher orbit." "Why are you helping us?" Sam asked suspiciously. Zikra's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "What the commander is doing violates our ethical protocols. Taking young ones is forbidden among all civilized species." She looked over her shoulder nervously. "And I believe he has severely underestimated your species' capabilities. Come now, before the guards notice." The children followed Zikra into the corridor, hope rising for the first time since their abduction. Earth knew they were here, and now they had an ally on the inside. The chase was on. Zikra led the children through dimly lit corridors, her steps quick but careful. Alarm lights pulsed along the walls, casting everything in an eerie purple glow. "The ship has entered emergency protocols," she explained in a hushed voice. "Commander, Vextil has ordered immediate departure from Earth orbit." "Because they detected us?" Sam asked, trying to keep up with the aliens' long strides. "Yes. Your planet's defense systems are more advanced than we anticipated." Zikra paused at an intersection, checking both directions before continuing. "The commander is now concerned about possible Earth retaliation." Jack was mentally mapping their route. "Where are you taking us?" "To the communication center. We must send a proper message to your world's authorities." Zikra's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "I cannot return you directly without commander authorization, but I can help you prevent a greater conflict." They turned a corner and nearly collided with 2 Xeraxian guards. "Science officer," one guard said, clearly surprised. "Why are the specimens outside containment?" Zikra straightened to her full height. "Commander's orders. They are to be prepared for the council transmission." The guards exchanged looks. "We received no such directive." "Then verify it," Zikra replied coolly, "but know that any delay will be reported to the commander." The guards hesitated, but before they could decide, Lily suddenly pointed down the corridor and shouted, "Look out!" When the guards turned instinctively to look, Sam and Jack shoved them hard. The surprised alien stumbled, giving Zikra time to press something on her wrist device. A pulse of energy rippled through the corridor, and both guards collapsed. "A temporary neural disruption," Zikra explained, seeing the children's shocked faces. "They will recover in minutes. Hurry now." On the bridge of the Eternal Curiosity, Commander Vextil was furious.
How did they detect us through our cloaking field, he demanded of his navigation officer. Unknown, Commander. But Earth's orbital defense platforms are now actively scanning our position. Vextil paced the command deck. Prepare to break orbit.
Calculate a high-velocity trajectory that will take us beyond their moon. Sir, his second-in-command ventured. What about the council presentation? It will proceed, Vextil snapped. But from a safer distance. The specimens are secured. An alert suddenly flashed on the security terminal. Commander, the human young ones are no longer in the observation habitat. They appear to be moving through Section 7 with Science Officer Zikra. Vextil's upper eyes narrowed dangerously. Zikra has always been too sympathetic. Lock down all communication systems and escape pods. Find them immediately. Back on Earth, the situation had escalated dramatically. Sheriff, Grant's small office was now packed with military personnel. Commander Russell had been joined by General Diane Harper of Space Command and a team of specialists. The alien vessel is still in low Earth orbit, a technician reported. But they're preparing to move. Can we establish communication? General Harper asked. We're trying, but they're not responding to any frequencies. Commander Russell looked up from his screen. We got another transmission, brief, but clear. He played it back. 3 children. Experiment by Commander Plan's council presentation. They must have accessed the ship's communication system again, Russell said. These kids are resourceful. General Harper nodded. So what's our move? We can't just let them take American children. Not just American children, Sheriff Grant said firmly. Any children. Agreed, the general replied. The president has authorized all necessary measures to secure their return. What about the advanced weapons platform? Russell asked. Is it operational? Harper hesitated. The prototype is ready but untested. It's designed to disable electronic systems without destroying the target vessel. Grant looked between them. You're talking about attacking an alien spaceship. We're talking about rescuing 3 kidnapped children, Harper corrected. And sending a very clear message to whoever these aliens are. Earth's children are off limits. Zikra led the children into a small chamber filled with blinking equipment. This is an auxiliary communication station, she explained, working quickly at a control panel. I can open a direct channel to your planet's authorities from here. What will happen to you after you help us? Sam asked, watching the alien scientist. With concern, Zikra paused. I will face disciplinary action. But our ethical codes are clear. Young ones should never be taken from their guardians without consent. The commander violated this principle. Your people kidnap adults? Lily asked incredulously. Not typically, Zikra replied, continuing her work. We observe, study, sometimes make contact with selected individuals. The commander's actions were unprecedented. Jack moved to her side, studying the controls. Can you teach me how this works? In case we get separated. Zikra seemed impressed. You learn quickly for a young human. She pointed to different symbols. This establishes the carrier signal. This modulates for your atmosphere. This. A loud bang interrupted her as the door to the chamber sealed shut. Red lights flashed around them. They've found us, Zikra said, her voice tense. The ship is going into lockdown. Can you still send the message? Lily asked. Yes. But it will reveal our location on the ship. Zikra's fingers flew over the controls. Security forces will come immediately. Do it, Sam said. It's our only chance. Zikra activated the system. Speak now. Make it brief. Sam stepped forward. This is Sam Miller. I'm here with Jack Peterson and Lily Hernandez. We're being held on an alien ship in Earth orbit. Science Officer Zikra is helping us. The commander plans to take us away from Earth. Please help, Jack added quickly. The ship has a vulnerability in its shield system. It cycles every 12 seconds, creating a brief opening in the lower rear quadrant. Zikra stared at him. How did you know that? I saw the pattern in the diagnostic display, Jack explained. And I'm good with patterns. A loud bang came from the door as something heavy struck it from outside. They're trying to break in, Lily said, backing away from the door. Zikra made a decision. Follow me. There is one more option. She led them to a panel in the wall, pressed a complex sequence, and a hidden doorway opened. This maintenance tunnel leads to the escape pod bay, she explained. I cannot guarantee the pods will function during lockdown, but it may be your only chance. You're coming with us, Sam insisted. Zikra shook her head. I must create a diversion, to give you time. She handed Jack a small device. This contains navigation protocols. If you reach a pod, it will guide you home. The door behind them began to glow red as cutting tools started to burn through from the other side. Go now, Zikra urged, and tell your people. Not all Ziraxians agree with Commander Vextil's actions. The children hesitated, but another loud bang from the door decided for them. They slipped into the maintenance tunnel, and the panel closed behind them. Inside the tunnel, lit only by dim emergency lights, Sam took the lead. This way, he whispered. We're going home. As they moved deeper into the ship's maintenance system, none of them noticed the small drone that detached from the ceiling and followed silently behind them, its red eye tracking their every move. Commander. Vextil watched their progress on his personal monitor, his mouth forming what passed for a smile among his species. Predictable, he murmured. So very predictable. The maintenance tunnel twisted through the ship like a metal snake. Sam, Jack, and Lily crawled on hands and knees, following the dim emergency lights. Jack held Zikra's navigation device in front, its soft blue glow showing them the way. How much further? Lily whispered after what felt like hours but was likely only minutes. Jack studied the device. We're close, the escape pod bay should be just ahead. Listen, Sam said suddenly, putting a finger to his lips. From behind them came a faint mechanical whirring sound. Something's following us. They looked back and spotted a small drone hovering. At the edge of their vision, its red eye fixed on them. Run! Sam shouted, abandoning stealth. They scrambled forward as fast as they could through the narrow tunnel. The drone accelerated, closing the distance rapidly. Jack looked at the navigation device, then at the tunnel wall beside them. Here, he yelled, pushing against a particular panel. It gave way, revealing a side passage. The children tumbled through the opening just as the drone reached them. The machine tried to follow but was too large for the smaller passage. It smashed against the entrance, its red eye still watching them through the gap. It can't follow, but it knows where we are, Jack said, catching his breath. Then we better move fast, Sam replied. Which way now? Jack checked the device again. This way. We've bypassed 2 sections. The escape pod bay should be right through here. They reached the end of the side passage where a circular hatch blocked their path. Lily examined the simple locking mechanism. I think I can open this, she said, using the metal aglet from her shoelace to manipulate the alien lock. After a few tense moments, the hatch clicked and swung open. They found themselves in a large chamber with 6 small, oval-shaped pods attached to docking stations. The far wall of the chamber was curved with what appeared to be a massive door to space. These must be the escape pods, Sam said, approaching the nearest one. A warning alarm suddenly blared through the ship, and red lights began flashing in the chamber. Warning. Unauthorized access to escape pod bay, announced a mechanical voice. In the Ziraxian language, now understandable thanks to the translation device. Security teams dispatched. Hurry, Jack urged, running to the nearest pod. He pressed his hand against the entry panel as he had seen Zikra do with other doors. The pod remained sealed. It's locked. Try the device she gave you, Lily suggested. Jack held the navigation device against the panel. The pod's surface glowed briefly, then a door slid open. It worked, Sam exclaimed. Everyone in. The 3 children climbed into the pod, finding seats designed for much taller beings. The interior was cramped but contained all the basic elements of a space vehicle: control panels, screens, and harnesses. Jack plugged the navigation device into a receptacle on the main panel. Immediately, the pod's systems came to life: screens, lighting up with Siraxian symbols that quickly translated into readable text. Earth trajectory plotting, the pod's computer announced. Warning, launch bay door override required. Can we override it from here? Sam asked, looking at the complex controls. Jack shook his head. I don't think so. The main controls must be outside. The door to the maintenance tunnel suddenly burst open and 4 Xeraxian guards rushed into the chamber. Behind them strode Commander Vextil, his long gray fingers clenched in obvious anger. Seal that pod, he ordered. But before the guards could reach them, another figure emerged from a different entrance. Science Officer Zikra. She rushed to a control panel on the wall. Return to your people, young humans, she called, her 4 eyes fixed on them as her fingers flew over the controls. Vextil shouted something in their native language, too quick for the translation system to catch. He lunged toward Zikra, but she had already entered the final command. Launch sequence initiated, the pod's computer announced. Prepare for ejection. The pod's door sealed shut, cutting off their view of the struggle. There was a loud clunk as docking clamps released, then a powerful lurch as the pod shot away from the ship. Through a small viewport, they caught a final glimpse of the eternal curiosity growing smaller behind them. We made it, Lily breathed, hardly believing it. Thanks to Zikra, Sam added quietly. I hope she'll be okay. Jack monitored the navigation screen. The pod is on an automatic course to Earth. We should enter the atmosphere in about 20 minutes. On Earth, the tension in Sheriff Grant's command center had reached a breaking point. General, we have a new contact, a technician announced. Small object ejected from the alien vessel. Weapon? General Harper asked sharply. Negative. Size and trajectory suggest an escape pod or similar craft. The technician studied his readings. It's on a controlled descent toward Earth, specifically toward us. Commander Russell leaned forward. It's them, he said confidently. The kids found a way off that ship. Or it's a trap, the general cautioned. Keep the defense systems locked on that alien ship. If they make any aggressive move while this pod is descending, they'll regret it. Sheriff Grant moved to the window, staring up at the sky. Where will the pod land? Current trajectory puts it in Lake Wilson, about 10 miles from here, the technician answered. Scramble rescue teams now, General Harper ordered. I want boats, divers, and medical personnel at that lake in 15 minutes. The escape pod shook violently as it hit Earth's atmosphere. Flames licked the viewport as the friction heated the outer hull to glowing temperatures. Is this normal? Lily asked, gripping her oversized seat tightly. I think so, Jack replied, though he looked worried. The pod has heat shields, but they're designed for Xeraxian specifications, not Earth's atmosphere. A series of alarms began. To sound inside the pod, hull temperature exceeding safety parameters, the computer announced calmly. Deploying emergency coolant. A hissing sound filled the pod as some kind of system activated. The shaking continued, but the viewport slowly cleared of flames. We're through the worst of it, Sam said, watching the navigation display. We're slowing down. I can see Earth, Lily exclaimed, pointing at the viewport where blue sky was now visible. The pod continued its descent, no longer dropping like a stone but gliding in a controlled pattern. Through the viewport, they could see the ground getting closer. Forests, roads, and finally the reflective surface of a lake. Brace for water landing, the computer instructed. The children held on to whatever they could as the pod hit the surface of Lake Wilson with a tremendous splash. Water rushed up around the viewport, then settled as the pod achieved buoyancy. We're home, Sam said, tears of relief filling his eyes. Not quite, Jack replied, looking at the sealed door. We still need to get out of this thing before they could figure out how to open the pod. They felt a jolt as something connected with their craft. Through the viewport, they saw boats surrounding them and divers in the water. The pod's door suddenly hissed and slid open. Sunlight and fresh air poured in, along with the concerned face of a rescue diver. We've got them, the diver called out to his team. 3 kids all appear unharmed. One by one, the children were helped from the pod onto a rescue boat. Wrapped in blankets despite the warm day, they huddled together as the boat sped toward shore. On the lake shore, Sheriff Grant, pushed through the crowd of emergency personnel. When she saw the 3 children safe on the approaching boat, she finally allowed herself to smile. High above, invisible to the naked eye, the Xeraxian ship Eternal Curiosity began moving away from Earth at high speed. On its bridge, Science Officer Zikra stood under guard while Commander Vextil reviewed the data from their mission. "You have committed treason," Vextil said coldly. "You will face the Council's judgment." "As will you, Commander," Zikra replied, calmly, "for violating our most sacred protocols regarding young ones, and for severely underestimating a species that clearly deserves our respect, not our interference." As the ship accelerated toward deep space, a new message began spreading across all Galactic Council communication channels. "Warning to all exploratory vessels. Earth designation upgraded to approach with extreme caution. Note specific advisory. Human offspring demonstrate exceptional adaptability, problem-solving abilities, and courage. Under no circumstances are human young to be extracted for study." And in smaller text at the bottom of the advisory, "Remember the Vextil incident.